Did you know Trump just legalized segregation again? Let me repeat that. Federal contractors can now ban black folks from bathrooms, restaurants, and jobs using your tax dollars.
It really amazes me to no end how people can just take the words of someone they don't know at face value and run with those words with absolutely no evidence or research of their own, as if God himself spoke to them. But the fact of the matter is, most of what you just heard from the video was absolutely false. Let me explain. This all started with Executive Order 11246. But before we can tell you what Executive Order 11246 is, you have to know what an executive order actually is. By definition, an executive order is a signed, written, and published directive from the President of the United States that manages operations of the federal government. Executive orders are not legislation. They require no approval from Congress, and Congress cannot simply overturn them. Congress may pass legislation that might make it difficult or even impossible to carry out the order, such as removing funding. Only a sitting U.S. president may overturn an existing executive order by issuing another executive order to that effect. Keep in mind, an executive order is not a law. Only Congress can make laws. An executive order is an edict written by the president that must be followed. So in other words, the President of the United States, by the power given to him from his office, can write edicts that must be followed by government agencies and the people of the United States. They can only be overwritten by the president who signed it, or any president that follows him. Congress can only write laws that take the strength out of an executive order. So what does this have to do with Executive Order 11246? On September 24, 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed Executive Order 11246, a presidential decree requiring U.S. government contractors and subcontractors to grant equal opportunities and non-discriminatory hiring and employment practices. Specifically, it prohibited discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, and mandated affirmative action to address underrepresented minorities and women in the workplace. On January 21, 2025, President Trump issued Executive Order 14173, titled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, which rescinded Executive Order 11246. This marked a significant shift in federal contractor obligations. Executive Order 11246, originally signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965, required affirmative action to ensure equal employment opportunities for minorities and women. The new order emphasizes merit-based hiring and prohibits workforce balancing or preferential hiring practices based on race, sex, or other protected characteristics. President Trump's Executive Order 17143 has absolutely nothing to do with eliminating the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and has absolutely nothing to do with sending black people to the back of the bus, reintroducing colored bathrooms, or colored water fountains. So when you hear nonsense like this,
hey, Trump just legalized segregation again. Segregation was banned and he just legalized it within the federal government. Like dead ass, like black water fountains, white water fountains were just legalized.
or this,
Y'all, what time are we living in? This man lifted the segregation ban. And for government agencies and companies, they can do white-only restaurants and bathrooms and stuff like that now.
or this,
are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. They are rolling back segregation.
Just remember this.
Across social media, many people claim one of President Trump's recent executive orders revokes a previous executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson that established anti-discrimination rules for federal contractors. Other posts suggest that revoking the order also repeals the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972, laws that protect against employment discrimination based on factors like race, religion, sex, and disability. Multiple verified viewers, including Barbara and Brian, have asked us to look into these claims. So let's verify. Does Trump's executive order repeal existing anti-discrimination employment laws? These are our sources. In 1965, President Lyndon B. Johnson signed Executive Order 11246, which required affirmative action and prohibited employment discrimination based on factors like race, religion, sex, and disability by organizations receiving federal contracts and subcontracts. On January 21st, Trump revoked Johnson's executive order. Trump's new order says it specifically targets what it calls illegal discrimination in the federal government and terminates multiple diversity, equity, and inclusion policies that span several decades. But Trump's order does not repeal the Civil Rights Act of 1964 or the Equal Employment Opportunity Act of 1972. That's because anti-discrimination employment protections established by these acts were passed by Congress and signed into law, which means it would take another law passed by Congress to change or get rid of them. So we can verify, no, Trump's order does not repeal existing anti-discrimination employment laws. With your Verify, I'm Ariane Till.